I want to briefly comment on a video that recently came out on YouTube. It's an interview between Mel Robbins and Dr. Gabor Maté. And if you have not seen it, you need to go watch it because it is by far the best explanation of trauma and what trauma is and how trauma affects our systems. It talks about attachment trauma. It talks about traumatic events and the things that our system does to try to make sense of it so that we can be okay. And as a therapist, that's long been how I approach what I do. But I think with a video like that, sometimes people can struggle with it because he talks about maybe our evolutionary kind of development, or he talks about the Buddha or whatever it is. But here's the thing, sometimes as believers, I think we can struggle with understanding why does this work this way? And then what do we do with it? So as brief as I can, I want to say this. God created us for relationship, and not just relationship, for secure relationship. And this is referencing attachment language. And the garden narrative very clearly talks about how they're in this garden, they're naked and they're unashamed. That is a sign of complete and utter security. And they are learning and exploring and experiencing. I have to believe that, again, they weren't perfect, they weren't God, they were humans. And so even in their discovery, did maybe things not go the way they expected? Possibly, and yet the security of that relationship meant they could learn, they could grow. I think God was comforting and kind to them. But God kind of, because love requires a choice to genuinely be loved. I don't believe love is coercive. God gives them a choice, and it's, you can experience this way, or there's this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Don't do that, because that comes with death. That comes with hardship that I don't want for you. But we know how this works. They did. And then as a trauma-informed therapist, that was the single greatest trauma in human history, is that break in security. But where God created us for relationship, secure relationship, he also created us with this incredibly diverse and creative and robust drive to survive. And that's not just physically, that's emotionally, and even most importantly, relationally. And as Gabor Maté points out, these different ways in which our systems, in an attempt to make sense of things, can experience trauma that lead to beliefs. And then from those negative beliefs, we develop strategies. And I always say it's two strategies: a strategy to take care of ourselves, which is often these things that we do, coping mechanisms. Or if you look, I'm a big fan of the How We Love relationship material, attachment material, and they talk about these different styles. Those are our unique systems developing unique strategies to be safe, even more so to be in relationship with other people. But often too, because we have these negative beliefs and negative perceptions of ourselves that naturally develop, because that's what God created us to kind of develop that way, we often develop strategies to take care of ourselves. And often I think that's where a lot of our sinful strategies come from. They're simply attempts for us to take care of ourselves outside of a secure relationship with God that end up harming ourselves and others, which is what sin is. And the good news is this: Jesus came to take that sin away. And really the good news is this, is Jesus came to reiterate, you are lovable. You have worth. You have value. And the cross demonstrates just how much worth and value you have. And so God came to wipe away sin so that we can re-establish some sense of secure connection with him. And security in relationships is most evident when we can invite that person, in this case God, into those most painful parts of our lives, and it not be weaponized against us, and it not be used against us. And see, that's the beauty of God. See, God is also ultimately secure. He's secure in his core identity of love and of truth. And so he brings love and he speaks truth, not in in a kind of I told you so, beat you up way, but in a loving, nurturing, kind, gentle way that invites you to trust him deeper, to heal, and to become more secure in that relationship and less judgmental, harsh to ourselves. And when we do that, it overflows into the relationships that we have around us. And that's kind of a small picture. I'll expand on it more in other videos, but that's a small picture of what I think it looks like to recognize how these struggles come about for us and a pathway to healing.